Welcome back to Dad's Deals and Dumbbells, the show where we talk business, fatherhood, staying strong, even when life decides to humble you.
We're two dads, one chiropractor, one lawyer, both entrepreneurs trying to build businesses, raise good humans, and keeping our bodies from completely falling apart too early.
And today we're asking a question that should make every dad feel very uncomfortable. What do you do if you lost it all tomorrow?
Oh, yeah. Business gone, income gone, status gone, no safety net, I'll figure it out next quarter, tomorrow, right meow.
Today, what we're focusing on is what you would actually do in the first 90 days, and you're picking up the pieces.
Yeah, no fantasy, no motivational quotes, no, what's that 6'7" guy? Robbins and
Tony Robbins?
No Tony Robbins woo-woo stuff.
You said 6'7", I could hear my kid going, 6'7".
Yeah, jeez, we're writing that too. My daughter's even size 6 and 7. Real steps, real concrete things.
Yeah. Because if you can answer that question calmly and clearly, you might be a little dangerous.
Yep, definitely. I've already considered un-F-withable. And if you can't, you probably need this episode. So stay tuned.
So if you're driving to work, you're lifting heavy, you're hiding in the garage, pretending to organize tools and staying away from the family. Either way, let's talk about rebuilding from point zero.
Let's go.
Let's talk some wins and fails before we get into to our trauma plans.
Something a little bit light.
Yeah, a little lighter.
A
little light for me. We've had decent weather around here, which is shocking since the. I don't think the groundhogs. I think he did not see. You saw his shadow, right? Saw his shadow, so it's supposed to be more winter. Well, it's been unseasonably warm, so that's been fantastic.
Spring has come early.
Spring has come early, so I got out on my bike for the first time since I don't know, probably October, maybe October, something like that. So I got to squeeze in a nice long ride on Sunday, and then I played hooky from work a couple hours early, and I went for another one yesterday, which was great. So that was the win. The fail was that this morning I was completely fatigued from working out.
Just dead.
Yeah, I mean, I swam yesterday morning and then rode, but I frankly did not anticipate that I was going to be that fatigued. But it's also, I've been off for a while, so.
Happens a lot.
Yeah, I should have known better.
Oh, yeah. Those are always those are my favorite, especially now. It's the season where everyone's like going from being hibernating and then going into gardening. And all of our patients are like, oh, I don't know why I'm so sore. I was like, did you garden 2 days ago? And they're like, how'd you know?
Using muscles you're not used to using.
Yeah. I'm like, I feel like a magician sometimes when I just like predict what someone did. And they're like, I don't understand. How did you know? I'm like, it's like it's my job or
You're
something.
You're a genius,
right?
Mitch.
I'm so smart. No, but just patterns. So yeah, our wins for me and fails is over the weekend. I don't know how much laundry I've done. We've washed our comforter maybe at least 2 or 3 times over the weekend.
The same comforter?
Uh-huh. And it's a king-size bed. It sucks. The dog, the puppy is not potty training very well. So my wife likes to have him sleep with us, and then I fall asleep, and then she doesn't put him in the kennel at night. So instead of just cleaning one towel on the kennel, we have to clean the entire comforter, the blanket, the sheets, occasionally the mattress cover. Yeah, it's great.
You know, there's a really easy solution for all of that, right?
Yeah, I know. It was not my decision.
I'm gonna text your wife later and give her a hard time about this.
Yeah, happy wife, happy life. Kind of the whole.
Well, sometimes it's not worth a fight for
you. We'll take care of everything. Yeah,
is she gonna take it out on you if I poke fun at her?
Whatever, at this point. But literally, and then yesterday morning, I went to work. I got up around 4:00 to go work out because Bruce was like stirring. Had him in the kennel, and then didn't smell anything. But when I walked downstairs, threw him outside to go pee, went to go pee on my own. I'm like, it smells like he farted or something. And then, like, it was pitch black. Like, put my hand on my shirt, and I'm like,
oh no!
Oh, he pooped like in the kennel. So I got upstairs, finally could smell it, and had to clean everything out. Luckily, it wasn't that big a deal. But luckily, that was just on a blanket, so it's only one blanket and my shirt. But then, like, as I picked. Yeah, there was some poop that was on the carpet too, so I had to clean that up. If you've never heard of a Bissell pet vac, do it.
Good stuff?
Good stuff, yeah. Just a small portable vacuum that uses water and a brush, and then like put that on the carpet, scrub it out, and it vacuums everything up for you to clean. It's great. Spot-Bot, I think it was called. But sometimes if you have like white carpet, light colored carpet that's gotten stained and like worn, you'll have like little white spots.
Little clean spots?
Yeah, it's like overly clean spots. Yeah, and you know where the dog peed. As far as wins, with F3, we're doing, there's a new like change in like leadership thing. So the guy in charge of all like leading all the workouts, kind of making sure everything's doing safe. He's implementing like this presidential fitness test. It's just like a standard for everyone. So next week we're going to be doing it. So yesterday we did a little trial run to see how it goes. We did maybe a quarter mile run, and then so that got me gassed. So I'm screwed for next week to do the mile run. But it's also max push-ups, max sit-ups, max pull-ups, and max bodyweight squats. So
and you get a grade connected to this. Is
yeah,
it just for you guys to be able to score and
so
see how you do?
Standardization, right? So then like every quarter, see how you progress. So
okay.
We're just
this is for you guys to measure yourself objectively.
Yes.
This isn't nice. Okay.
It's not for ego.
It's
obviously,
not for ego. It is for ego.
It's
the guys at the top. It's 100%.
It's 3,000 dudes. Like someone's gonna be a big man on top.
Yeah.
But on Sunday I did. Wasn't thinking right, but on Sunday I did like a heavy chest workout. So then yesterday I was macho man, right? I was able to do 56 push-ups in a minute, so I was happy with that. So almost one push-up a second.
That's impressive.
And that was all the way down, all the way up, all the way down to a fist. You put the fist on the ground, touch the fist, go back up. So felt pretty good. We'll see how many I do next week.
It does not sound pleasant.
The sit-ups were not pleasant. I don't like sit-ups and running, so we'll see. But
good times. Yeah, it's good times. Good times. All right, so let's jump into the dad hack of the week. Today, we are talking about this emergency planning kind of thing, and that's really the dad hack is plan your contingency plan before you need to have it.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, just like, just like with your kids, having some kind of conversation with them. If you haven't done this, dads, you should definitely do this. If there's a fire in the house, how do they get out of the house? How do they get out of the room? What do they do? Having some kind of training in place. I mean, having some kind of thought in place about it makes dealing with it when it actually happens so much easier.
Yep.
So if God forbid you lost it all tomorrow, what do you do? What's the first step? What do you do?
Yeah. Do you have it written down? Have you talked about it? Writing it down makes it real. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's really one of the best hacks you can have for yourself professionally and for your family to consider it. And writing it down makes it so much more real.
Yeah, for sure. Even though it's impossible to plan for all those scenarios, try and think of everything. Watch a couple movies. Figure out what they did in the movies, like what problems they had. All those things. Because again, you got to let the imagination go.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the dad hack for the week is make an actual contingency plan and put it in writing about what you would do, at least the basics. And we're not talking about filling out every possible scenario, but what's step one? What's step two? Have a couple ideas about where you would need to go.
Definitely. Do you have an age group that you would do this with? Because if I try and tell my 3-year-old how to get out of the house when it's there's a fire, he's not gonna remember that.
So two things on the fire thing. I think you need to have the conversation at multiple times in their life, right?
Yep.
My 17-year-old, the conversation I would have with her would be very different than the conversation I would have with your daughter, your oldest daughter, even, because they're going to understand things differently and they have frankly different physical capabilities.
Yep.
So, but I think it's one of those conversations you have to repeat. You have it, and then as things evolve, the house changes, the plan changes too, and you adapt it. On this contingency planning for what happens, what if you lost everything tomorrow, I think it comes down to as simple as writing down a few notes about, okay, if this happened, how much cash do we have available to last? How long can we go paying the bills without having to cut back severely on what we're doing?
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to talk about some of those things, but putting it down on paper makes it much more real. One of my side jobs, I'm on the board of directors for a small community bank, and we have got so many contingency plans. And it's a regulatory thing, and it's a banking thing, and you have to do this stuff. But there's literally plans for everything. What happens if a branch gets wiped out? What happens if there's a huge swing in interest rates? What happens if we need to get some additional capitalization for the bank?
What if everyone wants all their money in their account?
Yeah, I mean, there's lots and lots of contingency plans, but they're written down. And by writing them down, you have a base to go from. And maybe that plan's not perfect, but it gives you a starting point.
Mm-hmm. And for the bank, how many of those contingency problems, like Allstate, if they know a thing or two because they've seen a thing or two, like how many of those things are actual real world scenarios that has happened in the banking versus plausible future issues? I'm
gonna knock on wood when I say this. I can't think. So I've been on the board since 2009. I can't think of a single time where we've actually had to use one of the contingency plans.
Nice.
Maybe one of the generators.
Okay.
That's probably it. Like there's all sorts of there literally is a contingency plan for what happens if a branch gets wiped out. How to have a mobile branch up and running. We have contracts with providers that will bring in a branch, like they'll bring in a bank on a trailer, basically. Yeah. There's all sorts of contingency plans. But so where it fits in here with dads, of course, is you have some kind of a plan for what happens, because we're all in different situations,
Yep.
right? Everybody has
Yep.
different financial capabilities, different resources, just different liabilities,
Yep.
right? Some people are living check to check. Some people have lots of money in the bank. Some people have a huge mortgage. Some people have, no mortgage. I mean, it's different for everybody.
Yep. Gotta find what works best for you.
Yeah. But so that's what today is all about. It's about the 90-day reset. So let's talk about week one. Week one, the plan is you need to stop bleeding,
Mm-hmm.
right? Something's something's happened. You've lost your job. You've lost your ability to make money. COVID made things very real for a lot of industries, right?
yeah.
There were a lot of things that were shut down. You could not get a haircut legally. You couldn't get a hair. Actually, my wife cut my hair on the doorstep. Actually, we bought it was not even. I thought she did a pretty good job. She was traumatized by the whole thing. My sideburns were a little off.
Yeah.
But she did, she
That's
did her best.
easy.
But those people who were in, the personal care industry, like hair and nails and so forth, all of a sudden they were shut down.
Yeah.
You know,
There's no chance of them being essential either.
right. So then the question becomes, well, what do you do? What's the immediate plan? Cut unnecessary expenses immediately. If you can't make that mortgage payment, call your lender, let them know.
Yep.
A lot of lenders will work with you if they know something's going on.
Yeah.
They don't want to default you on the loan.
We had pretty good with our banks.
Yeah. You got to control the narrative at home. You got little kids. I'm not a firm believer. I don't want to worry my children, but I also don't want to lie to them about everything that's going on. I don't want them to think everything is normal if things are not normal.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes, they need to play a role. It's always interesting. My parents talked with me about money very different than I talk to my kids.
Mm-hmm.
But I think when the shit hits the fan, I think you need to clue the kids in at some level so they know what's going on.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean put the weight on them. That's not what I'm suggesting.
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
Yeah. But don't panic. Don't panic post on LinkedIn. Let me tell you a quick story. In 2018, one of our biggest clients, there was a change in middle management. All of a sudden, they stopped sending us cases, and I had like 4 people on staff who were just working on cases for them, and I had to lay off a whole bunch of people. And during this process, I was worried about what the future was going to look like for my firm, and I didn't panic post on LinkedIn, but I did panic email a friend of mine and asking what I basically was fishing for business, and the way I was doing it was not good. I would never recommend to someone to do it the way that I did it.
ChatGPT was not there to help
you
you
know
out.
who you are if you're listening. It's unlikely you're listening to the podcast, but if you are listening to the podcast, you know who you are, and I apologize. It was not the best decision, but don't panic. Take a breath.
Yeah. Meditate, relax. Again, on my part, physically stay as active as possible to manage that stress. So whether it's lifting weekly or a couple times a week, walk daily. You don't need a big expensive gym membership to do that either too. If we're talking about cutting expenses, you can do this stuff at home. You'd be surprised how well you can like tax your, like if you're a big lifting type of person that wants to, and you can really only settle for push-ups, pull-ups, and sit-ups at home. There's ways that you can fatigue your muscles to where a push-up is a pretty good muscle burner. Like you see those prison workouts, those guys are pretty jacked. They're pretty big. So there's ways to do it.
It's
basically
true.
just figuring out how to get those muscles to
You don't think
fail.
they have lifetime memberships?
Probably not. Different kind of lifetime membership.
It's a different
Yeah.
kind of lifetime.
But so like there's ways to pre-fatigue your muscles, do partial reps, do more time under tension. You can make a push-up be very beneficial and not have to just be able to bench press 200 pounds.
Yeah. Body weight exercises. And if you don't know what they're talking about, go on YouTube and do a search for body weight exercises. You get whole 30-minute, 40-minute videos just on those.
Tons of them. And YouTube's, if you have internet, can afford the internet, that's free. Walking daily, that's easy. You can't be walking outside's free. If you want to go for runs, you can do some circuits, all that fun stuff. Cut the alcohol immediately. Again, it's going to hinder your sleep. It's an extra expense you don't need. It will not actually decrease your stress. It'll make it worse, for sure.
Yeah, that's one of those things where when people have had a rough day, and I'm guilty of it. You have a rough day, you go home at the end of the day, you want to have a cocktail, take the edge off. It's not the best habit, people.
No.
It's not.
Nope.
I mean, I'm guilty of it as everybody, not everybody else. A lot of other people are. There are healthier habits. And when you're in crisis mode, adding alcohol into the mix is a terrible decision.
Oh, yeah. Lowers down the filters, definitely messes some things up. And then, again, next one, definitely sleep becomes mandatory. So take those naps, take your time, get the recovery that you need so that you can be mentally sharp the next day. Alcohol cuts into that. Even THC, CBD stuff, that cuts into your sleeping abilities. It doesn't get you into that deep, restful sleep where you can actually recover. It really only gets you into like that light, superficial sleep to where you're never actually waking up in the morning fully rested because you're not actually getting into those stages.
So don't load up on melatonin either.
No, melatonin. No, it doesn't do that either. Again, obviously
Damn it.
there's other things you can do to try and get some sleep, but those are the general recommendations that work for the most people. If you have other issues, there's other things you can do.
Yeah. So that's immediately following, right?
Mhm.
Days 1 through 7. Then when you're at 7 through 30, one of the things you've got to do is if your ability to get your paycheck and to pay for things, if that's gone, you need to figure out a way to generate cash flow. And one of the biggest things you need to do is if you literally cannot, if you've been laid off, if you lost your job, if something's happened and whatever you do to generate money is gone, now is the time to swallow your pride and to figure it out. You know, what does that mean? That can mean consulting. It can mean contract work. It can mean selling, flipping assets, brokering deals. I'll tell you what it means for sure is networking.
Yep. Yeah, definitely do that like crazy. Create those relationships because, again, people like to do business with people they know. Depending on the business that you're in, I would say no matter what business you're in, there's always something you have to do with people. So whether it's medical, lawyer, management of people, all of it's just dealing with people.
If you've been a decent human and you find yourself in crisis mode,
Do not burn all the bridges.
hopefully you've not burned every bridge that you've ever crossed
Yep.
because a lot of people will be willing to help you out,
Oh, yeah.
but they need to know.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell you, I have a family member who at one point was out of work, and I didn't know for 6 months. They never told me until they had a new job.
Mm-hmm.
And had they told me, I don't know that I could have done anything. They didn't, and they were okay financially, but I could have. If they told me, I would have, looked through who I might know that might have a position for them, done some referrals and so forth. You don't tell anybody.
Those relationships.
Yeah, absolutely. You don't tell anybody. Nobody can help you out.
No.
I'm a firm believer in leveraging your network. A lot of the opportunities I've had have come directly from the network I've built over the years, whether that's from family relationships, from clerkships when I was in law school, from people in the business community. I mean, just before we came here, I went to do kind of a networking, marketing kind of a trip because of another client that this other person might refer business to me. Build your network. And then hopefully if you ever really need it, like in a time of crisis, hopefully it'll pay off.
Yeah.
But you got to talk to people. You got to know what's going on.
Cast those webs out. I have a buddy who's in like billing for a company, and his company is in the middle of getting acquired by another one. And so he's like, well, I don't know what my position with this future company is going to be, so I'm going to start putting some feelers out. And he's one of those guys that just maintains all of his relationships with everyone. So he's already got a new job anyways before the acquisition even became solidified. That's
awesome.
And so he's had to make some changes and things on just lifestyle and things like that because he's used to working 5 days a week from home. Now he's got to go into the city 2-3 days a week, but it's something that's keeping security for his family. So he's happy with that.
Yeah, and I can hear some people saying to themselves, well, I'm not just going to take anything. And that's fine. And if you have the financial ability to sit and wait, good for you.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Yep.
And maybe that's part of your plan. But I think everybody has to evaluate this separately and figure out what do they need to do in the situation.
Yep.
What I could do now is dramatically different than what I could have done 15 years ago.
Yep.
And really different than what I could have done 22 years ago when I barely first started practicing. I mean, that would have been very different than where I am now.
Definitely.
So,
I remember hearing my mom and dad, like my dad got laid off from one of his jobs. He does marketing. So then he had what did he do? He did like almost like business to business sales for like basically first aid kits. So he would go around to different like warehouses, and he was number one. Like he was not a glamorous, like not a good job, not a big deal for him, like not something he wanted to do. And he hates talking to people. He's like a huge introvert, but he was number one in the region for like sales and stuff for this like door to door type of sales refilling equipment, like medical equipment, like like literally just Band-Aids, gauze, eye wash equipment, and like his company would even stock like electrolyte drinks for warehouses. So he was number one in the region doing that after like his first couple months doing it and on a job that he didn't want to have to do. And I remember still seeing the van like in the front of our house every day because he had his own little van. It said like Z Medical on the side. So kind of sometimes you don't have to take everything, but sometimes you gotta suck it up.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
Swallow your pride on that.
Yeah, 100%. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with it at all. I'm a firm believer in kick that network in, let people know what's going on. You can text people, you can call them, set up coffee meetings. I have, as I sit here right now, I think I've got 5 or 6 coffee or cocktail meetings set up with people over the next month or so. And I'm not out of business. These are maintaining relationships. There's one guy I haven't talked to in 20 years who reached out to me. It was a fraternity member of a chapter I used to be an advisor of, and he asked me if I was interested in grabbing coffee. Of course, let's get a cocktail. Let me buy you dinner.
Yeah, we've grown up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little different. I can afford to pay for dinner now.
Yep.
But maintain those relationships. Get out there and have those meetings. Let people know what you need, what you can do, and you never know when someone's going to have an opportunity that'll come across your desk.
Definitely.
So let's talk days 30 through 90, strategic rebuilding. What skills are actually monetizable?
Yeah, that was a hard one, almost being true with yourself. So figuring out what you can do, what you can offer to other people too. What skills have you used to grow your current business that you can apply to other businesses?
Yeah. I will say this. I'm a little hesitant on this one and telling people to assign value to everything that they do, because some people may not understand what the hell you're talking about. I know someone very well who's been a high-level executive for 30-plus years, and they recently had to leave that position, and they're looking for something brand new, and they're not a young worker. And I'm not in that person's shoes, but trying to position themselves for something identical is going to be challenging. It's going to be challenging. Doesn't mean they can't find it, but they have to find the right situation, and it may take them 6 months. It may take them 2 years. I don't know. If they're in a position where they can afford to go ahead and do that, great. If they're not, then they may need to change the way they're looking at some of those things and what they're willing to do.
Definitely. Yeah, I've seen people, if they have a large sum of money or something like that, or like if they lose everything and get some sort of sellout payout, I've seen some people take that and invest it into some sort of franchise.
Yeah,
and start that from ground up.
So one of the things that I've seen happen is people recognize, they get laid off from a position, they've got a few dollars in the bank, and then we've had guests on the show that have talked about this. They found themselves in a position where they're getting laid off. They had some money in the bank. They realized they had a monetizable skill, and boom, they started the business.
Yeah, back is kind of against the wall.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I know a lot of people that, I think I know more lawyers that went that direction and started their own firm than did what I did, which was leave a good paying job to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of crazy. And it is.
On paper, sounds like a terrible idea.
It was a terrible. I got to take a nap on the couch with the dog at like 2:00 in the afternoon, and I was well paid, and it was nuts in retrospect. It worked out pretty well, but it was crazy. So do you build? Do you buy? Do you have the ability to do those things?
And depending on the situations that happen, say we were talking about it earlier, if you have to apply for bankruptcy, say you had a business venture that did not go well and it sucked up all your capital, your credit's pretty crappy. So what do you do then? You're going to have to find some sort of backer, some sort of partner, some sort of friend to give you a hand up. Yeah,
and I hope people who go that route, who file for bankruptcy, who have run up a lot of debt, I hope they realize that it's not as simple as going that route and then jumping into another business and using their credit to go ahead and start something else. It's more complicated than that. I hope people recognize that. I know some people don't, because I see it happen. But being able to leverage your credit and get into doing those kinds of deals, that could be a problem. So you may need someone else to guarantee it.
Yeah, and I would say along those lines, that's basically those same skills that kind of hopefully started that original business. You can apply those same into a new business, just maybe a little more efficiently. Maybe you made a big mistake and lost a big deal. How you learn from that mistake and you can move forward. Yeah.
So one of the things as we were preparing to do the show, I kind of had thought to myself a little bit, and this isn't about what Mitch and I would do individually, but one of the questions that came up is, would you start something small? Would you go lean? Would you partner up with somebody? Would you go all in? My firm now is dramatically different than where I started in 2007. When we started in 2007, we had literally a fistful of dollars and a rented space, used office equipment from my dad's old office, and was as lean as it could possibly be.
Yep.
What I have now is dramatically different. I don't want to go back to where I was, but the nice part about where I was at that point was that the capital cost per month in order to cash flow properly was super low.
Yep.
Now I got to run payroll tomorrow. I know how many tens of thousands of dollars it's going to be just for tomorrow. It's a very different environment. Oh, yeah. And if I was going to jump in and try to have what I have now, first of all, I couldn't do it on day one.
No.
It just wouldn't be possible.
Yep.
But there's a lot of risk in doing that. I see people that have no experience with running bars and restaurants, and they get the idea that they're going to open up a bar or restaurant, and they're going to spend a couple $100,000 on renovation and get things moving, and then they realize there's lots of other costs that come up, and they don't have enough capital to go into it all. That's a big weight you're starting off with to having to move. You can do it. Just make sure you know what you're getting into. So I definitely would not make a knee-jerk reaction and plan on investing a significant amount of money into a new venture without fully vetting it, just like you would if you had plenty of time.
Yeah. That's what I would think. Like, if we were to acquire, if I was to, if in my thought is like, if I had to redo it, acquire something small, acquire a business that's already been running, that's already maybe not completely profitable, but pretty dang near close, where it's an easy turnaround. Start there.
Yeah.
Turn that around, lean it out.
Yeah.
And there you go.
Last week when we were talking about looking at businesses that are actually for sale, they're listed for sale. If you happen to identify a possible business there, you see where the problem is and that it can be remedied. Great.
Yeah.
Great. You still have you still can't do it overnight.
No.
As we talked about last week, you need to actually do some due diligence before you jump into a venture and potentially saddle yourself with somebody else's problems. But look for the opportunities.
Definitely don't acquire their liabilities.
Yeah, unless there's a really good reason for you doing that. That's solid legal advice you just gave out there.
There you go. Free 99.
Yeah. So let's and that leads us really right into Joe's judgment for this week. Personal guarantees and starting over. We've talked a little bit about this. When things collapsed, what kills a lot of people is the ability to leverage. If you filed for bankruptcy, your credit's going to be in the toilet, and no bank is going to want to lend to you alone. They may not want you even on the loan, to be honest. Personal guarantees, if you have an S corporation or a C corporation or an LLC that you own, that you run, a lot of people think that because they have that, they're insulated from personal liability. Let me tell you, that credit card you have, that bank loan you have, you likely have personally guaranteed those debts, and you don't just get to walk away. You may be able to walk away for now, and they haven't sued you yet, and it simply shows up as a mark on your credit. But you haven't simply walked away from the debt. At some point, they may come looking for you, and they may expect you to pay it.
The protection that they're thinking, though, is it just from because they're not? That's more like if you were to get in trouble or get sued.
So yeah,
the business got sued, they wouldn't be able to come after you.
We could easily do a whole episode just on this, but in concept,
they would think they're protected.
You want to have the protection of an LLC or a corporation to shield you from personal liability for the business from personal responsibility for the business liabilities.
Yep.
The problem you run into is when you're talking about debts, and when I say debts, I mean bank debts, credit card debts, mortgages, loans. Most of those typical institutions are going to require you to personally guarantee. If you get that Amex in the mail, if you actually look at the terms and conditions, which nobody does, nobody looks at them. If you look at them, one of the things it's going to say is by using this card, you agree to personally guarantee the debt.
Yep.
So even if it comes in the name of your business, Amex is likely going to sue you if you don't pay that debt.
Yeah, my name is still on the card. So
it happens years later. Now, I will tell you, we've defended some of those cases. We've won on some of those cases, but you can't just simply take on a corporate debt and ignore the fact that you may have personally guaranteed something. The terms and conditions control. If you're doing a typical bank loan, I guarantee you the bank's going to require a personal guarantee. They don't care about XYZ corporation that you started in your basement that has no assets. They don't. If you're Apple, it's different. So anyway, personal guarantees, cross-collateralized loans, SBA guarantees that you have for debts, co-signed debts. Oh, let me tell you, people forget about this all the time. I have seen clients who have started a business, they personally guaranteed a debt or a line of credit for the business, and then they sold the business but did not close the line of credit, and the new business owner screwed up, didn't pay the vendor. Well, guess what?
Uh-oh.
You're still on the hook. Yeah, you can go after the new business owner, but that doesn't relieve your liability for the debt that you personally guaranteed that they lend against. So it's not as simple as simply walking away and starting over. There are some legal things to consider. This is one of the other things you should probably do in the first few days after this is talk to a lawyer. If you've got some potential exposures out there, make sure you understand what they are. Doesn't mean you have to change anything. Just know what's coming. And it may not be coming for 6 months or 2 years, but have an idea about what's coming so that when you take that next step, you're not putting yourself in a position where you're going to be worse off down the road.
For sure. I like this one. If you're rebuilding, you must understand what's following you. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't want to drag any of those with you.
Yeah. And we've said this before on the show. If you don't understand what you're signing or what you're reading, it's not a good move. Don't do that. Please don't do that.
So we should read the Amex.
Take a cursory look at it at least.
Just plug the PDF in ChatGPT and say,
you could. Liable? 100% now. Yeah. Am I going to be personally guaranteeing this loan? Am I going to be responsible for this? Yeah.
Definitely yes.
Yeah. Or just take what I'm telling you as the gospel that no credit card company is going to give you the credit card and not assume that
You're going to pay it.
that you're going to pay it. So
Yeah, that's how that
just
works.
get ready for a fight if that's the route you're going to go. So let's talk rapid fire takeaways here.
Yep.
I have a couple here for me.
5 lessons.
What's that?
Say 5 lessons?
Yeah, five short lessons. 5 short lessons. Your identity, your personal identity, cannot be your business. Should not be your business.
Definitely.
Cash flow first, strategy second. Pride delays your recovery.
Yeah, so make sure you train before you're broke.
Yeah.
And then manage that stress because it will affect that for sure. Whether it's physical, mental, chemical, it'll definitely affect any sort of recovery.
Network before you need it. Document everything.
Oh, that's a good one. Don't burn all the bridges.
No, don't do that.
Yeah.
Don't do
And
that.
then your kids and your family are also watching you in the stress. So part of it, yes, have the conversation with them if it's age appropriate, and then try not to take it out on them.
Yeah. I'm going to tell a quick side story about not burning bridges. There was an employee who I had to fire. Nice girl, nice woman. I say girl, she could have been my daughter, I think. I had to let her go. She wasn't a great employee. She was struggling to get the work done, and I had to let her go. And it was hard for her. It was hard for me. She was crying. That's not fun. Anyway, I let her collect her dignity, her things, and she left. And she was very, very kind on the way out. Even she didn't burn any bridges. Literally 6 months later, because we hadn't used her laptop. I'm opening up her laptop or case or something. I don't remember where it was. I found a card she had written after I fired her, but before she left, as she's collecting her things. She wrote me out the nicest note saying, "Hey, I just want to thank you for the opportunity to work here. I learned a lot. I hope, to be able to, be friends with you in the future, blah, blah, blah." I just fired her.
Yeah.
And I found that note. You know what I did? I emailed her. I said, "Hey, you want to have lunch?" Got together with her to have lunch. I'm not going to offer her a position, but I would have no hesitancy in trying to direct her to something else I think she would be capable of doing.
Have it more like a mentorship thing.
100%.
Employer-employee.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, but I've seen the other people. I mean, we've had employees before who have told us that they were leaving, and then they immediately started to poach business, and they burned the bridge right to the ground.
Quickly.
I'm not helping those people out at all.
No.
I'm not necessarily going to bury them, but I'm not going to help them. I'm not going to bend over backwards to give them a hand. So,
Golden rule, guys.
oh, absolutely.
Treat others how you would like to be treated.
Absolutely.
It would make the world a lot better place.
Yeah. Anything else for the benefit of the show today, Mitch?
Nope. Last one. Health is leverage. Keep yourself healthy so you can function, and even when under stress.
Yeah. If you crash your health after your financial well-being has crashed, you're going to have two problems.
Yeah, I got financial health and mental health, physical health.
Yeah.
Gotta keep them all happy.
Yeah. I think the alcohol one is one that we can't probably hit enough. If you're in crisis mode, really pull back from
That was really
overdoing
hard during
things.
COVID, though. My justification was I was keeping the brewery on the way home.
We were
in business, quote unquote, with my growler every week.
Yeah. We were keeping the breweries in business. We were keeping the liquor stores in
distilleries.
business, the distilleries. They never did better business.
No.
I discovered bourbon whiskey then.
I did also become accustomed to nice bourbons. Oops.
Hey, listen. We all did what we had to do to get through COVID.
Yeah, and at that point, too, I think I hit 280. I was like, this is not good. I need to go down.
We weren't in crisis mode, though. Not true crisis mode. What we're talking about here is you've lost your job. I mean, this isn't that was scary, I think, for all of us. But it was a little different. It was a personal crisis. I suppose for the people who literally had their businesses shut down 100%, it might have been.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine how going and getting trashed, drinking too much, or abusing something else is going to help that situation. You're going to self-medicate to dull yourself for that moment.
It's a short-term Band-Aid.
It's not going to add anything.
Not a long-term solution,
So,
for sure.
As much as I would like to have a glass of whiskey in that situation or bourbon, I probably would. I hope I would be smart enough not to do that.
At least now we've gone wiser. I would say we're wiser than our earlier years, so I would avoid that.
Yeah. I'm definitely. Hey, listen. Yeah, when you hit 48 like me, you're going to see this. All of a sudden, you're going to have a couple drinks out at night at a social event, and the next morning, you'll be like, "Oh God, why am I feeling like trash?"
Oh yeah.
I remember being like 20, 21. Of course, I didn't drink when I was underage. Why would I do that?
Heaven forbid.
And I remember one instance before I was 25 where I had a hangover. One time.
How?
I was in
lucky are
Venice,
you?
Italy. It's actually a terrific story. I'm not going to tell it today, though. One time. One time I was hungover.
Wow.
I was on the train from Venice, then to Vienna. It was terrible.
Well, at that point, there's nothing else to do. But
It was terrible. But now it's very different.
I look at an IPA and I get a headache.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Yeah. That's what happens. So thanks to the aging process.
Oops.
Yeah. Well, that's a wrap on this episode of Dads, Deals, and Dumbbells. If this conversation made you a little uncomfortable, good.
Because resilience isn't about building things that are building when things are smooth. It's building when you decide you'll be okay either way.
And if you have to rebuild tomorrow, hopefully you don't start from zero at this point. You start from a little bit of experience and forethought.
Yep, definitely. If you have the forethought, maybe you'll be at point number 1 instead of 0. From discipline, from relationships, from scars. So,
yeah, build those up now. Get them ready.
If this episode hit home, send it to another dad who needs to hear it, who needs to create a nice plan.
Yep. Until next time, lift heavy.
Think long term.
And remember, you've never once set back anything from being done. I don't know what the hell that means. This script was terrible that we had.
You're never one setback away from being done.
I still don't like it.
You're one decision away from rebuilding.
That I like. That I can get behind. You're one decision away from rebuilding.
Yeah.
And apparently I needed to read my outro a little bit better. So hey, that's my takeaway from today.
It is one decision, one little mental flip, one little perspective change.
Be ready. Hopefully you never need any of this shit.
Definitely.